Was your computer with mine?
What, babe?
Was your computer with mine?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, honey. Oh, you're in bed.
Oh.
Dina's here.
Hey, Dina.
How are you?
I'm exhausted, but I'm okay.
He was 2 hours in where?
Baker.
Baker. All right. We are you recording?
You're good.
Cool. We are making calzone today. And calzone is just a fancy name, an Italian name for a hand pie. Or it can, and in the case of, it's a big hand pie. I slice it in half and eat half one day and half the other. But you can basically fill it with anything you want. You've got, what I'm going to fill it with is Italian sausage and onions and pepper and cheese. But you can fill it with anything you want. You can you can fill it with pepperoni if you want pepperoni. I couldn't get pepperoni today, which I was hoping that I could, but I couldn't get it because Vaughn's didn't have it. But I've got all of the other ingredients. You can fill it with white sauce. You don't have to have the tomato sauce. You can fill it with artichoke hearts or mushrooms or spinach or any number of things. So I am not giving you, I gave you the recipe for the bread dough, which is basically pizza dough.
Thank you.
But I'm not going to show that to you unless I've got time. What I'm going to do right now is make some of the fillings. And we've got, I'm going to do 2 sausages because I'm going to do two meat filled and 2 vegetarian. And you could use any kind of sausage or none as you please. I'm just going to, turn on your oven. Now, I need to tell you about this. I misdid. So it's my fault. It should be 450 to 500 degrees.
Okay.
And it's not 20 minutes, 25 minutes, it's 20 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes. It's not that, it's much better it's like a pizza. You want it really hot, scorching hot in the oven. So I'm just taking the casing off the sausage. Again, you don't need to use sausage, or you can use chicken sausage, or fake sausage, whatever. You know, that fake sausage? Whatever it's called, the better than or whatever.
Plant-based food.
Plant-based. Mystery meat. Anyway, I'm just putting this on to fry up, and that goes away. And then I'm just slicing some onions, which is going to go into that pan after the sausage cooks. It doesn't even have to be all the way done, but I generally cook it until it's done. So you're just slicing up some onion, because this is going to be the onions and pepper, which is basically the stuff for Liz, because Liz is a vegetarian. And again, you can, if you don't like something or you don't want to do something, don't do it. It's not like any of this is something that is necessary. The only thing that you have to have is the pizza dough and something to fill it with. I think cheese is really necessary. But if you, oh, Bonnie, your thing about pesto. Hi, Mariana. Your thing about pesto would be great in this too. As would, it would be fine. So I'm just going to chop up the onions and then chop up in slices. Now I've already washed this. The pepper. One thing about pepper, be sure you cut it, when you're cutting it, you cut it with the skin side down, because it's easier to cut that way. And you're just making it into strips that will be good to have. All of this, this could be leftovers as well. I'm all for getting stuff that may or may not be fresh. You know, I mean, you can do leftovers. I've got a tiny little bit of spinach that I'm going to put in one that I had from last night's dinner. This was leftover spinach. Fine. Who cares? So you can see I'm just, the sausage is, now if you had pepperoni, if I had pepperoni, or if I had prosciutto, or if I had ham, you wouldn't have to cook it in advance. If I had leftover chicken, you could do it with that.
With raw?
No, not raw.
Okay,
Leftover.
you have to cook. Okay,
It cooked.
right.
And, you know, this is just, oh, you could put ground beef in, though it would be tasteless. I don't like ground beef that much, but, you know, there's all, you know, pretty much whatever you want, you can put it in. It doesn't take very long for it to cook. And then you throw in the onion and pepper. Now, the reason I'm able to do this is that Liz doesn't care that it has sausage in it, at least the taste of it. She just doesn't care. So that's fine. I'll be putting garlic into this once it's cooked down. It needs to cook down. So what do you put in to calzone? I'm going to take this away because this is the onion board. What do you put into it? I don't make my own for 3 tablespoons. Though this, you can use this to dip it in as well after it's cooked. I had one of those bowling ball mozzarellas, and so I just chopped that up. You could do mozzarella cheese grated up. On a little bit, never hurt anybody. Ricotta. I like a lot of ricotta in mine. I like that taste, that texture. Basil leaves from plants outside, and Italian seasoning. So it's basically, again, it's a technique. It's not a big deal. You could make hand pies or pies like this out of almost anything that you have in your refrigerator. It's a nice leftover thing to do. Anything is good with a lot of cheese. Oh, Allison! Yay! Allison is in a new show.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
So that's exciting. It's at the Los Angeles Municipal Art Gallery. And so they're doing a special kind of online exhibition that is sort of interactive, and visitors are welcome to join into discussions about the artwork, and they're trying some new ways of exhibiting art. So it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, and I haven't gone into it yet because you done it today, but I'm looking.
Yeah, it just opened today.
Yeah, and I will next week. I'll tell you about my experiences.
Yes.
Here's Carol. Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, nice to see you.
I'm hassling with Medicare, so I got late today.
You can see here is the onions and pepper. They're cooking. All is well. Probably it would be better if it were cool, but if it were cooked in advance and then cooled off. But who cares? Who cares? Really? It'll still work. Okay. So this morning, I made the pizza dough. This is maybe 3.5 cups of flour, and it's been raising, and it's very spongy and lovely. You can see it's really nice. So we're going to, since I like the big ones, I'm going to divide it into 4. Put 2 of them away. Now, this is a really simple dough. It is basically yeast, water, a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, and yeast, water, flour, and that's it. It's dead cheap. I mean, how much does 3 cups of flour cost? It's really easy to do, and you can make it up in advance and put it in the fridge, and all is well. What I'm going to do is roll it out now. And, I have a pan that is lined with parchment paper, because that's what I like. to use. And I'm just going to roll this out as thin as possible to about an 8-inch circle. Now you can do it with your rolling pin. You can stretch it out like this. Now it's a nice stretchy dough. If you leave it, you're going to let it rise for a while. I've let it rise 2 or 3 times. I just keep punching it down. I know it's alive. The Trader Joe's pizza dough that you buy at Trader Joe's or at Vaughn's is pretty fine. I object to spending as much money on it as you have to, but it's not that expensive.
It's like
$1, yeah, maybe.
I like homemade dough.
But I like homemade better too, Dina. So with a pizza, you want the edges to be a little bit thicker. With a calzone, you want the edges to be thinner. This is about a 10-inch round. 9, 10. It's fine, whatever. It's pretty thin, which is really what you want because you're going to double it over. It's going to be doubled over. And so the first one I'm going to make is going to be the meat one. So have a little bit of sauce. And you're not going to the edges. You don't want to go all the way to the edges. You want to leave an edge out there. And you don't want to use a lot. You're just using enough to kind of taste it up, okay? Then, I'm going to put some ricotta. Now the ricotta, I like a lot, and I'm only going to put on half of it, okay? Then some of the meat. If you're not doing meat, then don't put meat on. It's fine. And this is improv. So I'll put some Italian seasoning. A few strands of spinach, cooked spinach. Some basil. I'm just throwing basil leaves on. But again, this is whatever you want. It's not like you have to have any of this. This is just tasting very Italian here. And a few slices of mozzarella. Again, I'd use the grated mozzarella if I had grated. And then, before I do anything else, I'm going to get a little bit of water and put it around the outside so that it will stick. It's not a big, no, not a whole lot. I'm just with my hands. So you take it and then you can stretch it out and put it down like this. And then fold over the edge so that it's nice and sealed. I have this, yeah, the oven's on. So you're rolling up, and it doesn't matter if you want to make it really beautiful, forget it, who cares? It's gonna look great anyway. And then, I'm gonna get my thing here, and I'm going to check to make sure that this is, and then put it onto the platter. Now there's something else you're going to do before you put it in the oven, but I'm going to make a vegetarian one for the next one. And again, these can be made, a little bit in advance. If you're making a lot of them, you can make them you can actually make them, bake them, and then reheat them in the oven. But stretching it out. This particular size is a dinner size for an adult. For a kid, like Noelle, I'd probably make one of the big ones for Noelle. She's definitely an eater. I was gonna say, well, for a kid, might want to make it 6 inches, but not Noelle. If she likes it, she'll eat it.
She's almost a teenager and they eat a lot.
Oh, yes. The stories of teenagers. This is about a 9-inch for me, 8 or 9. If you want it thinner, you can do it thinner. And it's just a repeat, except I'm not going to put the meat on it. Let's see, what else can you put on here? Mushrooms, pesto instead of the tomato sauce.
Would you cook the mushrooms first?
Oh yes, cook the mushrooms first. Here we go. Here comes the ricotta, which I particularly happen to like. So that's why there's so much. You don't have to do it as much. It's up to you. You are the master of your calzone. You don't have to put onions and peppers. I just like them. Here's the spinach, the leftover spinach. And more. Now, if you get the fresh mozzarella, I would slice it in advance and then drain a little bit of the water off of it. You know, put it on paper towels or something. But this is just one of those bricks, those bowling ball things. Bortoli or something like that. So there you go. This one is for Liz because it is. Here comes the water. because it's all vegetarian. There's no meat on it. Here comes the water. Stretch over the top. Put the edges together. Now it is going to weep a little bit in the oven, which is the reason why you want to make sure that you have either, parchment paper or something on the bottom of the pan. And what did I do with it? Oh, hello, it's right in front of me. There it is. There we go. Okay. The last thing you do, it's really important, is to make holes in the top for the steam to escape. And I'm going to put one long one this way so that I'll know that that one's a vegetarian. Okay? Then I need to get my hands washed off a little bit.
It works like gardening. If you don't get dirty and messy, it's not good.
It's probably not the way it should be. And then I'm just going to brush them with a little bit of olive oil. Oh, I forgot to put the basil leaves in the vegetarian one. Oh, well. No one will know. You brush it with a little bit of oil, which will make it lovely. And then you can either put salt on it, you can sprinkle it with salt, sea salt, or I'm going to put some shredded Parmesan on top because I can. And because it'll get nice and brown and lovely. And I probably would have grated it if Vaughn's had had a chunk of Parmesan rip that I could grate, but they didn't have it, so I'm set. And there you go. What was that? Huh. Well, I'm going to put this in the oven now the oven is a hot oven. And I'm going to set it for about 15 minutes. And there you are. It's a way of using up leftovers. It will be, you can take some of this leftover stuff, heat it up in the microwave a little bit in a dipping bowl, and then when you take it out of the oven, which it will come out soon, when you take it out of the oven, you cut it in half or in pieces, and then you can dip it into the sauce. And you do not even have to have this as part of your recipe. You don't have to put it at the bottom. You can put pesto in, or I don't know, anything you want. Leftover gravy for that matter. And it's a great way to get kids to eat vegetables, first of all. And it's also kind of cool. And I like it better than pizza, I personally. But that's me because I've never really liked pizza that much.
That's when I'm the same way. That sounds better.
It's just that there's never enough filling on the pizza to make me happy. And when you've got this, you've got a lot of filling. And so that's what I do. Any questions? You're yawning, Susan. Am I boring you?
The weirdest thing you've ever put in?
I was up really early for a webinar at 6 a.m. because it was 9 a.m. in New York. So it's kind of getting to be that hour, and I'm getting hungry looking at this.
Mariana, what were you saying?
I was going to say, what's the weirdest thing you put in a calzone?
I don't know. I can't remember. The boys used to put, you know, when I had the boys home, I would let them put whatever they wanted in. You know, I'd do it, but I'd let them choose. And
Sure.
they put in, you know, things like beans and potatoes and, you know, weird stuff. You know, you can, and they ate it. My only thing was that they had to eat whatever it was that they put in.
That's awesome.
You know, but this is more Italian. You know. Oh, something else that goes in there is ham. Really good. Ham and cheese. Provolone. Great. You know, all of that is good stuff. So. And I'll be making the other two that I've got there after everything is all set up.
You can also make sweet pies too, right? If you can do.
Oh yeah, you've had some apple.
I don't know if I had a sweet hand pie that you made, but I know I've had them other places. Yeah.
I've made. You can do them sweet, but I don't call them calzone.
Yeah.
I call them apple pie or apple pie. I like hand pies. There's something about a little hand pie that's filled with apples or sweets or that that's my favorite thing. I really like it, mainly because there's so much of the pastry. Mm-hmm. But there's also a lot of the filling. So, yeah. So,
would you use the pizza dough and use that to put something sweet in it, or would you add sugar to it or anything? Or
sure. No, you can. If you can make like a meat pie with leftover pork that's been chopped up.
Okay.
You could sweet. I'd cook some apples and put apples in, or cherries.
And just use that same pizza dough.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
And if you don't like it, then don't ever make it again. You know, I'm not saying it's the best ever or anything like that, but when you start giving yourself permission to do anything you want, that I don't know, there's something very freeing about that. You know, you could put dal in. I'm just thinking, you know, and aren't they called samosas or something?
Yeah.
You could do that. You don't have to make them into little half moons. You can make them into any kind of shape you want.
Okay.
I don't know, it just seems when you start saying, okay, I've got this in the fridge, what the hell am I going to do with it? Or, gee, you know, I like the puff pastry. What can I do with it? Oh, well, I can enclose chicken with pesto, Bonnie, you know? And the lovely thing about it is that if it doesn't turn out, you don't have to have it hanging around. You're fine. You eat it, or you throw it away, or give it to the dog, and all is well. So, anything else? You don't want me to show you how to make the pizza dough, do you? Or do you?
I think I'm fine. I mean, I can figure it out from the recipe, but you know, I'm just tired. I was sick last week and I'm a little slow.
Yeah. How are you, Mariana?
Fine. I was a little freaked out that I was sick. I was scared because the week before last I visited with you. But I'm fine
I
now.
figured that you didn't have COVID because you would let me know.
Yes. I haven't gotten my official test results back because it takes 14 days now for a test. I paid extra to have a 7-day test, which should be coming back in the next, 2 days. But I couldn't believe my doctor said don't even bother because it's 14 days for a result in LA County.
Oh.
Which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I paid for an at-home test. But I think now I'm fine. I don't feel sick at all anymore. So I feel kind of silly for spending the $100 on the test. But I didn't know, and I wanted to make sure.
Right. I mean, you had just been here, and I know. Yeah. Dina, do you want to show them some of your pictures?
Oh, I think there.
Oh,
My granddaughter reminds me so much of Elise in those cowboy boots. Oh my God.
oh,
My daughter had 3 pairs of boots that she wore.
funny.
Like 4 years. Those were the only shoes she wore. She had a pink pair, a red pair, and then a brown pair. And that's how she kind of grew up. Was she graduated from pink to red to brown? Yeah.
Okay, that's
Oh, look.
fun. I haven't got to the gravy yet.
That's gorgeous.
That is beautiful.
And
What a cool project.
Yeah.
then
Oh,
Oh.
I love it, Dina. Oh,
and then the peach blueberry pie.
Oh, gorgeous.
She's got
So
a lot of them.
yeah. So I'm gonna go back through the ones that I haven't done yet, and then do going forward, and
Yeah. Get
we'll
it.
do.
Yeah.
We'll do. Yeah.
That's so awesome. That's beautiful. I didn't know you like to draw and paint too, Dina. That's amazing.
We will have a cookbook at the end of this. We will. An illustrated cookbook. What the heck?
Yeah.
So next week is supposed to be very hot. And I thought I would do something like a trifle, which means no turning on of oven.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, here it is.
Right.
Here is the
Ooh.
Oh,
Look how beautiful.
and I'm going to cut it in half.
beautiful.
Without a knife. There you go. And that's what it looks like on the inside.
Wow.
That looks so good.
Oh, it's really good.
Oh my God, it
Smells
smells
amazing.
amazing. It's too hot to eat, so we're not going to be eating it in front of you.
Gosh.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.